Hey everybody! Are you live? I'm alive. I'm Sheryl Crow, and I'm here on release day, April 21st. And I have a new record coming out today. I'm so excited. Oh my God. And I love that. Anyway, it's coming out today. It's called Be Myself. I'm super excited about it. I've never had so much fun making a record. I've said this before. I basically just barfed a bunch of songs out because I had so much to say. And we made an album in like 3 weeks. Made it with my old buddy Jeff Trott, who I made the Sheryl Crow record and the Globe Sessions with and the Come On Come On record. So I get to talk to you guys today, and I'm going to answer some of your questions, and I would love to hear what you want to know. Ask me anything. I say that with a little bit of I guess that, and maybe a little bit of this, and then even this. Okay, so I think the first question is going to be from Melissa McMullen, and she asked, would you ever consider doing a duet with Dolly Parton? I think both of your voices would blend beautifully. I would love to sing with Dolly Parton. She's one of my favorite singers, one of my favorite songwriters, one of my favorite people. Melissa, if you know her, if you can get a hold of her, if you can make that happen, that would be awesome. But I love her. I think she's amazing. And I do live in Nashville, and I do feel really lucky that I'm surrounded by unbelievable female singer-songwriters, country artists like her, and Emmylou Harris, who's just been a brilliant friend for ages, and Alison Krauss, who I just ran into the other day and I love. And so, yeah, that would be a dream come true. Good question. All right, I also have a question from Casey Coleman. Casey asks, when will you be writing your memoirs? Oh, when everyone dies. There are too many people I have too much on to write about them. But when I'm like 99 and they're all gone, I'm going to tell the truth. And you're going to want to read it. You'll probably still be in your, you'll be in your 40s by then. Anyway, no, I would love to do that, but honestly, I just am not that kind of a tell-all person, but I do have some good stories, I have to admit. All right, Andrew Smith, what's your favorite song to perform live? Why, and has it ever changed? My favorite song to perform live is My Favorite Mistake, and I don't really know why. I think because it's the kind of music that I just love, that is just a throwback to like late 60s, early 70s kind of R&B. I don't know. And it has meaning for me. And also, it's the only song that if it comes on the radio, I don't turn it off of mine. It's the only song that I don't go, yeah. All right, so Mandy Fisher asks what your favorite song on the new album is. Oh, Mandy, good question. I have a couple. Actually, the single, which is called Halfway There, and I'm not just plugging it. That is actually one of my favorite songs. It is about what was inspired by when we were making the record last year. The political campaign was so ugly, and people were just like so vitriolic, and a lot of hate rhetoric, a lot of fear mongering. And I live in a very red state, and I'm sure most people know probably that I am a liberal. If you don't know, I'm a liberal, and so it's really just, talking about we all have these differences, and that's what makes America great, is that there's so many different kinds of people here with so many different belief systems, but we've kind of gotten to this place where our differences are creating a chasm, and we've got to figure out a way to get back to holding a conversation with at least some dignity and some decorum and blah-de-blah-blah. So, and also I love the groove of this song. It's called Halfway There. Check it out. Okay, so Paul Sager asks, what has been the highlight of your career other than performing with your idols from your youth? Oh, wow. Paul, I mean, okay, I won't talk about that because those are some of my favorite memories, getting to play with people like Bob Dylan. Highlight of my career? Yeah, wow. So, I guess, I hate to sound really weird. I am not just plugging my record, but this record was the most fun record for me to make. And it was a total project of, and this is how I feel about it, it just was really easy. I just felt like, gosh, all the songs were just pouring out. And believe it or not, I made it during school hours. So I take my kids to school, 8:30 in the morning, drop them off, come back and write and record, and then bring them home, eat dinner, et cetera, et cetera. So that was a big highlight. It's hard to take out of the picture the Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan and people like that I've gotten to perform with. So that's what I'm coming up with right now. Sorry, Paul. Don Whitmore asks, who's the one female singer-songwriter that you think everyone should be listening to but isn't? Oh, my gosh. That is really hard. You know, I'm really into new music right now. It's kind of funny. There's so much good new music out there from the band Joseph. I love them. Singer-songwriter, I love Maren Morris, but everybody's listening to her, and she's a great singer-songwriter. Oh, yeah, Angelina Presley, who was actually in the, what were they called? She was in the Pistol Annies. She's a great songwriter. I love her. Brandy Clark is totally kick-ass, and if you don't know who she is, go buy her records. She's awesome. Nancy Wall-Wood asks, which of your songs defines you the most? Not in record sales or charts, but who you are as a person and artist. Well, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing, kind of a sad story. It's one of these that while we were making the record, you know, I'm a mom of two, and Jeff, who I was working with, is a mom of two boys also, and he is a teenager. So right in the middle of making the record, this boy that I knew in town, he was 14 and he hung himself. And I think part of it was just the pressures of, first and foremost, it's hard to grow up. And secondly, just the pressures with social media and bullying and all that kind of thing. It really started making me think about, you know, what it's like to raise two human beings. I mean, it's not just like raising kids. They're people, and how to sort of protect them from a loss of innocence. And so I wrote this song called Love Will Save the Day. And I do feel like that song is kind of like part 2 of I Shall Believe, which would have been the song I would have picked. And that was on my first record, I think it was, or second record. But yeah, it just talks about, for me, it talks about how we're going to go on so many journeys, and God knows I have. And the journeys that have taken me the furthest away from myself are the ones that have taught me the most about myself. And at the end of the day, what I found is that love is what changes the molecules. It's what keeps us healthy. And it's, you know, it's what also keeps us going in life. And that's the message I want to impart to my boys, but it's also the message I have to remind myself. So I think that song right now speaks to who I am the most. Fred Norris asks, why is the new release the only record of yours on vinyl? Would love the back catalog put out. Were you a big vinyl fan growing up, and do you listen to vinyl today? Okay, I don't know. We'll make that happen, and yes. So let me back up and clarify that. That would be, it is coming out on vinyl. In fact, I think it might be out on vinyl starting in June. And why is it not on vinyl? Because when I get off of this Facebook Live, heads are going to roll that they aren't, because I'm just now finding this out. Anyway, here, let me calm myself down. Okay. And yes, I was a huge fan of vinyl and had a huge collection. I think I had like 500 or 600 records, and along the way, some of them actually got left in a storage unit, and they were all warped, so they went by the by. But for my birthday 2 years ago, I think it was, my band curated a whole collection. They all each gave me three new albums, or three albums from their personal love, and a turntable. So I'm way back into it. Boom. Okay. Oh, so Eve's Malouine. Somebody give me a help here. Malouine. If Frank Zappa was still alive, would you like to meet him? And if so, what subjects would you want to discuss with him? Yes, I would love to meet Frank Zappa. Let me see here. Is any of these? Kind of, but not really. I'd love to meet Frank Zappa. I have just a huge amount of support for him. He, he testified before Congress on things that he believed in. He didn't just put his money where his mouth was. I mean, he showed up for things. Also, he was a genius. So who doesn't want to have a dinner party and invite a genius? Yeah, I mean, he was really an original. He was the architect of a particular kind of music, and just a high-minded guy. I do know his kids. I've met his wife, and yeah, I would love to talk to him about where he thinks the state of technology is and what it's doing to us as a people. While technology is a wonderful thing in so many ways, it also, in some ways, is undermining our humanity. And I'd love to hear what he has to say about that, and how the cell phone is the thing that's supposed to connect us, and yet it also is creating a lot of disconnect. So I'd just love to pick his brain about where he thinks we're going as an evolved civilization. Okay. Michael T. O'Brien asks, how will you manage touring with your kiddo responsibilities? Michael, it's funny that you asked that. My kids freaking love the tour bus, okay? So 2 years ago, I told them we weren't going to tour anymore, and my then 7-year-old started crying. And he's like, we're not going to go on the tour bus anymore? And I was like, what? And then he was like, really, Mom? And I was like, oh, hey, we will again someday. So we're doing it this summer. And yeah, they've been on every tour. And my boys have actually learned, I mean, they learned how to walk on a tour bus, which makes me think they're going to be excellent snowboarders. But yeah, every decision that I make in my life revolves around them and their well-being. And at which point I felt like we need to have some consistency of waking up in our own beds. I decided to stay home, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing for me, and I've been very productive during that time, even though I said I wasn't going to be. I've made this record, and I've got another record in the can, and I've been at every Boy Scout meeting. I drop them off every morning. I pick them up every day. But this summer, they're really excited about going out on the bus, and they're going to go to Australia with me, and Japan, and Europe, and so all is good and right in the Crow household. Jason Lopez asks, do you have a favorite song to warm up with during sound check that isn't one of your songs? Oh my gosh, Jason. We play every bad 70s cover you can think of. We play, what all do we play? We've played everything from Aretha Franklin to the Eagles to ELO to
Blondie.
What?
Blondie.
To Blondie. Stones. Keep them coming, people. Joe Walsh. Cheap Trick. Bad Finger. You, Jason, you probably don't even know who any of these bands are, unless you're my age. Sylvia Jean Collins asks, what's one thing you wish you wouldn't have done in the I would have done in the 90s? Oh, because when I thought it said wouldn't have, I was thinking of all the haircuts that I wish I would have done in the 90s. Wow, that is tricky. I think I did everything I wanted to do in the 90s. Isn't that sad?
2000s.
Is there anything I missed in the 90s?
I don't think so.
I mean, I pretty much went and saw everyone I wanted to see play. I made records in the 90s. I don't know. Actually, you know what I would like to have done in the 90s, which I didn't do, was take a vacation. All right. Dwayne Brown asks, what song inspired you to write your own songs and be a songwriter? What song? Oh, gosh. Okay, Dwayne, I'm going to tell you a really goofy story, which is completely tangential, but when I was, I want to say maybe I was 7 or 8 years old, I dreamt that Paul McCartney, we were sitting in a tree. I know, it's weird, right? We were sitting in a tree. This is well before I started smoking pot. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, I dreamt that he was singing this song, and while I was laying there, I had a lucid moment of, I got to remember this. I got to remember what he's singing because it's the most beautiful song I've ever heard. And then I woke up, and of course I didn't remember it, but then later on I heard Long and Winding Road, and I realized that that's what the song was. So all that to say that I think from an early age I wanted to be a songwriter, because for one thing I could play the piano by ear, and I would go to the piano and pick out like James Taylor and even Stevie Wonder and certainly the Beatles, and I think I just always wanted to do that, and I wanted to be really good at it. And The Long and Winding Road was actually one of those songs, that and Someone Saved My Life Tonight, those were big moments for me, learning to play those on the piano. Okay, we have time for 5 more audience questions. Right now I've got Jackie Gebbia, and Jackie wants to know, what are your thoughts about the music scene today? Well, Jackie, if you have about 3.5 hours, I think I can cover it. I'm sort of like this. I'm a little bit like this. But I'm definitely like this, because there's so much great new music out there. I mean, I'm so totally digging like Head in the Heart, Boy and Bear, Joseph, The Shelters. I mean, I'm super psyched. I have my Shazam on my phone that is just stockpiled, and I just keep buying and buying and buying new records. But speaking of buying, that's one of my concerns about music, and has been for a long time, is that the people that listen to music, which is all of us, are unsure about the worth of music. And I feel like art, obviously my first record, my second record, my third record, they came out even before Napster, and so the logical experience was that you made a record and you toured and people bought it, and that afforded me the opportunity to make another record and to pay my bills and to keep going. And now, I guess because we get music so many different ways, our young people are growing up not realizing that it's actually like it's work, like it is a form of work, it's an occupation to be an artist, but also it's not like one day you just wake up and say, I'm going to make a record. And I mean, I guess maybe it is now, but you know, a lot of us grew up learning to play music and really practicing and playing in bands, and there was like an order to making it, and you went out and you played for 10 people, and then you played for 100 people, and word of mouth spread. And so obviously it's a different thing now. It's like the Wild West, but there's a lot of different ways to find music, which is great. But I think at the end of the day, understanding that art has to be valued, and valued in a way that can sustain it. And I think that art typically throughout our lifetime has been the thing that has documented who we were as civilization, all the way back to hieroglyphics, song styles, art, paintings, writings. All these things are a reflection of who we are at any moment in our history. Just like when you listen to the radio now and songs are very sexy, we're a more sexual society. That definitely is indicative and representative of who we are. You can look at art, you can look at songs and see throughout history who we've been. You look at the 60s, and those songs were very, very about the frustration of being a young person and having the government be the bad guy, and being in the Vietnam War, and some amazing songs came out of that. And so we need our art, and we need our art to give voice to the collective consciousness, and we need to value it in a way that we can keep it alive, as opposed to it being commerce-based and dollar-based, because it even shortchanges you guys as the listener to hear the same kind of music over and over, because that's what's feeding a demographic, which is what's getting the radio commercial dollar brought in. So all that to say is that art and music are worth being valued. All right. Emma Cohen asks, you're sorry you asked that, aren't you? Emma Cohen asks, what is one genre of music you've always wished you could perform, but you are too afraid or reluctant to try it? I kind of have tried almost everything. I've not tried rap, and I'm pretty sure I can nail it. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't know. It's funny. I grew up studying classical. I wasn't very good at it because I could play by ear. I made a record that was very inspired by Memphis R&B, rhythm and blues. I did make a country record that I felt like was an extension of who I am in so many ways. So I guess, I don't know. I love big band music. I've never done that. Richard Kennedy asks, if all you want to do is have some fun, what do you do in your spare time? That's a very good question, Richard. What I do in my spare time is, and not only in my spare time, but in all of my time, is raise 2 little boys. And we do a lot of fun things. I mean, we're a super, like, outside family. We fish. I know it sounds stupid, but we love fishing. We have horses, so we ride our horses. We ride go-karts. We're that family. We play basketball. We jump on the trampoline almost every single day. What else? We like to go out on, my boys are learning they learned how to kneeboard last year. Hopefully they're going to get up on some either skis or like a wakeboard this year. That's what we do. That in free time. We're just kind of outdoorsy people. 2 more questions. Angie Cunningham asks, why just the one UK tour date? Nothing for fans outside of London area. It's over 200 miles away from me. Angie, truth be told, we don't like anyone outside of London. No, I'm kidding. Actually, the reason that we're playing in London is because it's set up around promo days. Like, I know we're doing Jules Hall, and we're doing Graham Norton as well, which is, I mean, it's super awesome for us. So we threw in a date in London because we knew we were going to be there. But it turns out we do another date coming, but I can't announce it. We're going to announce it on Monday. But we have another UK date. So stay tuned. On Monday we'll announce it, and hopefully it'll be someplace near you, Angie. Gary M. Longo. Sheryl, do you write your own songs by yourself, or do you and your band come up with the lyrics and melody together? Okay, so Gary, here's the way it works generally. Through the last about 25 years of writing, I've either written by myself or written with my my buddy Jeff Trott, and I'm generally the lyric writer. I have had some bouts of collaboration with a guy named John Shanks through the years. I've done some stuff with him. But and then the country record I wrote with a lot of writers in Nashville, really just for the experience of co-writing with fantastic writers, and that was a good experience, although I have to say it wasn't that much fun, because it's just hard to go into a room and write with people you don't really know. But for the most part, like this record, I wrote 99% of the lyrics, and that's generally the way it works. Write the music with Jeff or by myself. Okay, wow. Time is up. I can't believe it. Thank you all for hanging out today and asking such great questions. I love your support for the music. Let's do this again. Okay, I did just read that, okay? But I'm going to sum it up by saying it's awesome to get to spend time with you guys, and I love that even though I can't, be in your town immediately, hopefully we're going to be coming nearby to you guys. We're going to be out this summer on the Outlaw Tour, which will be worth seeing. So many great artists on that. Jason Isbell, and obviously Willie Nelson and I will be on the whole thing. So that in and of itself for me is, I'm psyched to be out with Willie. Sturgill Simpson, My Morning Jacket, maybe some Neil Young, maybe some Bob Dylan. Anyway, I hope we're going to be near you guys, but I hope you love the record, and it's been awesome talking with you guys.